Here we go.
Too close. Okay. Good morning. Welcome to Tai Chi. My name's Nate. For anyone that hasn't taken it with me before, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the principles for it, what's going on, what to watch for, what to feel for. There's three big principles we need to keep in mind as we practice or play Tai Chi. Principle one is the 70-30 principle. You don't want to lock out any of your joints. You want to keep your movements comfortable and utilize roughly 70% of your range of motion. That way you always leave something behind for adjusting and accepting of forces against you, whether it be wind, terrain change, or someone pushing you. And the other principle I like for you to really think about quite a bit is empty and full. Empty and full addresses the weight shift that guides how our movements move forwards. So if you're putting all your weight onto one foot where it feels like you can just lightly lift the opposite foot, the foot with all your weight is the full foot, and the empty foot is the one that lifts rather easily. And that should gradually change as you move. So really feeling out what empty and full feel like really help you control those movements the way you would like to. And then the third one is be comfortable and relax. Always remember that there is no good or bad in our Tai Chi practice. There's only doing better next time. So if you notice if something doesn't feel quite right, you being aware of it is everything, because then you can make an adjustment the next time. So I'm going to start introducing some of the movements sitting down so everybody can get familiar with them, and then we'll take it into standing for those of you that have a little bit better balance. And at all times, only do what you're comfortable with. Don't force anything to happen. If your balance is questionable, do it sitting down or just standing still. If you do really well, we'll work on the footwork and the step taking also. Again, thank you, and let us begin. So my feet are resting flat on the floor. I'm sitting in a chair. My back is not on the seat back. I'm pretty much on the front 1/3. Arms are relaxed, resting in my lap. Sternum is lifted, shoulders over my hips. And I'm just take a nice relaxing breath and feel this posture. Again, comfortably breathe in. Gently exhale. Relaxing the muscles that are not required to maintain this position. Great. So our opening movement, we'll just lightly lift our hands no higher than our shoulders or chest. And we'll let the inhale come on the lift and lightly exhale as we gently lower our arms down. I'll turn sideways for the side view. Again, nice shoulders over the hips. Everything's comfortable, flat against the floor. Gently lift, gently lower. Beautiful. And so we'll put that together 4 times. I'll maintain this view for now. Inhaling, gently exhaling, letting the air and the movement work together. again. One more time. Great. Congratulations, you can now do Tai Chi, and if this is all you remember, you can still get the benefits of it. So now, we'll go movement 2 in sitting, and then I'll also demonstrate movement 2 in standing for those that would like to do it standing. So you have movement 1. Movement 2 begins when our hands are about even with our stomach, pulling both hands back, letting the elbow travel past the body, bringing the base of your palm up the ribs, tucking the elbows down, pressing everything forwards, bending the elbows to call the hands back. Should be right around mouth level, and then back down to our lap. So it looks like this, coming together. And then standing up, it'll look like this. And then if you wish to incorporate the step, this is the same movement with the footwork. As I come up, come down, hands pull back, and as my hands travel towards my stomach, I put all my weight on my right foot. Lifting my hands, I lift the left foot, send everything forwards. When my foot is flat, bring my weight onto it, bending the elbows, and then bring the other foot up. So for the side profile, it will look like this. Pulling back, taking the weight to the right, traveling up, setting everything forwards, coming onto the foot, comfortably, smoothly and controlled, and then relax out. So now we'll put those two movements together 4 times. I'll do 1 seated, 1 standing still, and then 2 with the step. Again, maintain comfort as you move. Do what you feel is safe and comfortable, and don't go fast. Taking a nice breath, thinking about the 2 movements we're working on. Inhaling on the lift, we'll begin. Very good. And now standing still together. And then for those that wish to, with the step. Excellent. Very good. I do believe you are now ready for movement 3. As we keep adding, this gradually turns into more of a brain exercise than a body exercise, and begins to push our attention, our focus, also our movement sense, and our memory. Because each section flows gently into the next one, making sure the right muscles are doing the right jobs, all promoting that sense of control. And who doesn't like being in control? So sitting down, demonstration of movement 3. This movement is affectionately referred to as opening and closing hands. So you have movement 1, which you're all pretty familiar with, coming along well, to movement 2, finishing at the start of movement 3, which is at this point in the actions. And you'll lightly pull the hands apart using a combination of your shoulder muscles and your back, and then release them to let them drift back together. And we'll do this movement 3 times. And we'll let it down. So from the front view, it looks like this. Things to remember for that action: when your hands come apart, it should stay roughly no wider than shoulders wide. And when they come together, right about the width of your chin. Also, the elbow stays down. We're not up here. This exposes your ribs for those of you that want to know martial arts, and that's never good to be exposed. But also, in the event you were to lose your balance, it takes longer for your arm to come down like this than if it just straight out like that. So there's a little bit of everything involved here. Elbows low, chest is up, movement is just in that little piece of range. So we'll do it 4 times, incorporating it in. I'll do once in sitting, once standing still, and then 2 times with the footwork. Please choose the one you feel you control the best and you are the most comfortable with. Taking that nice breath in. Another breath, only thinking about the 3 movements we're working on. Inhaling on the lift, we'll begin. Very good. And standing still. And then 2 times with the footwork coming in. recognizing the weight shift. Trying to incorporate empty and full. All right. So to recap on it a little bit, when we press out, we're trying to leave just that little bit of a bend and not totally lock out. You want to leave that little bit of range in your elbow so it can go either way. With the weight shift, I don't lift my left foot until I feel strong and supported on the right foot. And this lift should be rather effortless. I set it out, I allow my heel to hit, then my foot to turn flat before I bring weight onto it. Strong and supported here, bringing the right foot up next to it for that ready athletic stance we all know that's about shoulder width apart. That weight shift directs everything. And technically speaking, movement begins from the feet and finishes in the hands. So you don't want to chase your hands, but you want to have everything spring from the ground and go forwards, thinking like a tree. How do we feel with that so far? Great? Good. Good, good. So now, we'll go through it one more time, really focusing on the smoothness of it all and making sure we aren't rushing any of our actions.
Okay, there we go. Now I can hear.
Hi, Joy.
Yeah. I'm gonna clean and organize my room. Get more stuff packed up. He doesn't realize that I'm packed shit. He doesn't? Alright. I have my emergency bag in my car. Good.
Okay. So,
Well, come back later if you can. Yeah, I will.
have a nice breath.
There's no alcohol out there. No, don't bring him.
Inhaling on the lift, we'll begin.
Bye.
Coming over the right foot. Very good, very good. Introducing movement 4. So like I have done with all the other movements so far, I'll introduce it sitting down, a couple of views, and then when we practice it for the 4 reps, I'll do a sitting version, a standing still version, and then the step version. So at this point, we all know movement 1 very well. Coming into movement 2, to movement 3, and to movement 4. So after the 3 open and close hands, palms turn forwards, press out. Again, not locking the elbows. The left hand will travel just past the left shoulder and the right hand will move away from it just past the right shoulder. You're going to follow the left hand as you go with your gaze and your eyes. So your hand and your nose are connected. From here, the right hand will come under and stop under your elbow. So everything's on the left side of the body. Palms are up, more up on the left hand than the right hand. Turn your left hand down, scooping it towards you while simultaneously lifting the right hand to take its place. Everything is still largely on the left side of the body. You're looking now at the palm of the right hand. And that is movement 4. So again, from a side profile sitting down, it would look like this. For those of you that are working on the footwork as well, I'm going to start from movement 3. And when you turn your palms and push them out, you'll take your weight over the right foot again. When it's supporting you and strong, and you separate your hands, your left foot will travel out to the left with your left hand, and they should stop largely in line with each other. As your right hand comes over, you'll take your body weight onto your left foot. Beginning the transition of your hands, your right foot will come in, but be mindful not to step on or pinch off your base of support between your feet. So you should be comfortable on your weight in this position here. So I'll do that again from a back view, so you can really see the weight shift between sides. So we're at movement 3. Turning the hands, shifting the weight, separating hands, transitioning over, switching hands, stepping in. So now we'll do 4 practices. I'll do 1 sitting down, 1 standing still, 1 with steps facing the camera, and 1 with a step facing the back wall. So as we're ready, we'll take that relaxing breath. Focusing on being comfortable through our movements. Taking another breath. Just thinking about the 4 movements we're working on. Inhaling on the lift, we'll begin. Separating hands, watching the left hand, bringing the right hand under, switching hands. And now standing up, standing still. And then 1 with a step facing forwards. and then once facing the back wall. Please, no funny faces. It's hard to do this without all the jokes.
All the what?
All the jokes. All right, very good. So now we're starting to push the limits of our coordination, and all the while making sure we're still breathing. Because if you're not breathing, something's terribly wrong. So to recap a lot of the principles we've been incorporating, making sure we're not overextending any of our joints. We're not forcing any of our movements, and we're working within what's comfortable for us to control. And we're allowing the weight shift to guide the movements when we're incorporating our steps. If you notice, the first few movements may feel really stiff or uncomfortable when you start to hit the endpoints in your range. But as you practice this, they naturally loosen up and your range moves wider without trying to force it to happen. That's where working within what's comfortable is very important, because that'll allow you more repetitions, which makes it easier to learn and remember. Like all things, the more you practice it, the easier it gets. Even something that can be as complex and as detail-oriented as Tai Chi. Also, incorporating all the details really helps us train our focus and really allows us to be aware of how we do things just as much as what we're trying to do. And the how we do things is what keeps us safe for those of us that have balance impairments or things along those lines. So let's do it all again. I'm going to remain sitting for this one. If you feel like standing is good for you, do the standing positions. And if you're able to complete it with the steps, feel free to do so. Just be mindful of your weight shift and not overextend yourself. Always stay safe and comfortable. Taking that nice relaxing breath. I'd like to thank everybody that joined me with this today. I really appreciate your time. And for the next 30 minutes, this is all that's important. Inhaling on the lift, we'll begin. Great. Now that we've gone through the 4 movements pretty well, let us now incorporate movement 5. Movement 5 is affectionately referred to as waving hands like clouds. And while I refer to it as movement 5, we'll repeat this 4 times going to the left. And there's really probably closer to 3 to 4 movements within movement 5. As always, I'll do 1 sitting, forward facing, one side profile and sitting, one standing still, and I'll do one facing the back wall with the step. So to recap, this is movement 1, movement 2, 3, 4, and movement 5 begins here. And we'll take our nose, which is lined up with our palm, and our belly button lined up with the bottom hand, and take them to the right side of the body. After going to the right, you'll turn your top hand out, press it down, switching hands, everything staying to the right side of the body. Again, belly button lined up with the bottom hand, nose lined up with the top hand, everything will travel back to the left. Turn it out, press it down, lifting, line back up, back to the right. Top hand turns out, press down and lift, coming back to the left. This is number 3. Finishing number 3. And one more time to the left again for a 4th. Turn the hand and switch. And after this one, the right hand and everything will stop in the middle, and your left hand will come up and meet it back for this posture here. And then you'll let it down to your left. I know everybody just thought, whoa, that's a lot. But that's okay. You're going to get to see it a bunch of times before we put it together. And if you need a break, it is just as good to be able to focus in on observing the movements and then mentally practicing them. You still obtain about 20% of the benefits and learning as to actually performing it. So you can really still get some good practice even when you are beginning to get tired or if you can't practice it the way you would like to. A little bit of practice and a lot of mental practice can go a long way. So now, side profile view of the 5 movements. And then take it to the right side, lined up, rotate and switch hands, back to the left. Stopping in the middle here, matching the left hand to the right hand, down to the left. Now, standing still. And now the back view with the step. So again, ensuring my weight shift leads my step. I stand fully onto the right leg before I move my left foot. Allow my foot to go flat on the floor before bringing my weight onto the left foot, and then making sure I'm supported and strong full on the left before I bring the right foot in. And I just work that sequence with the hand movement. There's one good checkpoint in the waving hands with clouds or light clouds step sequence, and that is when I am here and I'm out, I come over, and when I switch, I have a nice line from my hand down my elbow, through the hip, through the leg to the foot. And when I'm here, I know I'm good to step in and then reset. When I switch, I'll step out, full on this leg, empty on the other leg, foot's flat. I have this nice checkpoint line down my arm, through my leg, and then I'm good to take my weight over. And with the weight coming over, I have a nice slight rotation of the body, and it finishes in the hand. Switch, begin again. So really the attention to detail starts to show up here. I keep getting too close to the camera, I'm sorry. And with that attention, you really begin to activate the deeper muscles. Tai Chi does a lot of good for our strengthening and our coordination, a lot of good for our cardiovascular system, and some of the lesser known benefits, actually it helps with the immune system and strengthening. The first obvious points of strengthening is the holding the slight squat stance, as you notice I've been doing. And again, finding your comfort in there is paramount. You don't have to be very deep if that's very uncomfortable and hard. And if you just have a slight bend in your knees, you're doing the work. The other obvious one is we support our hands at this height for a large portion of the routine. That's a lot of strengthening for the shoulder girdle, the chest, and the back. But also, by directing everything through that weight shift and engaging these smaller movements and stabilizing the way we do, we target a lot of the deeper muscles that are responsible for the strength of the body, primarily the core, and the deeper muscles of the hip, neck, and shoulders and arms. These small muscles provide us our form and allow us to exert our control over how we move. And that's where we get that nice stability and improvement in our balance. So it's a combination of being mindful of how we move, not so much what we're doing, but how we're approaching it, but also strengthening those deeper muscles that get overlooked in our everyday lives. And then that gives us a nice full body approach, which then lets you take on anything. So we have closing in on about 17 minutes. So we'll try putting movements 1 through 5 together. I'll do alternating views from facing the camera and facing the back wall. I will perform them all with the step. If you're performing at the chair level, please continue to do so and pay extra attention to the control of the arms and how much rotation and your breath play a role. And those of you with the step, be mindful of your weight shift. Taking a nice, good breath in. Another good breath, only thinking about the movements we're practicing. Inhaling on the lift, we'll begin. Sorry, I was running into the wall. I had to cut my step a little short there. Same routine. Nice breath. Really allowing ourselves to recognize what the body tells us with our movements. Nice relaxing breath. Inhaling on the lift, we'll begin. So again, recapping, not locking our joints. Everything should be relatively relaxed in the knee, in the hip, in the feet, in the elbows. Even when we're reached out, we still have range of motion available in case we need to finish or adjust. The weight shift, directed by the principles of empty and full. We fill up on one leg, so the empty leg is effortless to move. And then we bring the filling to the opposite side to allow the other side in. As you practice, you may start to notice that some of you will lead your weight shift through your shoulders, but we really want to try to let that weight shift primarily happen here so we can maintain that nice upright posture. And that's a common goal for many people that practice with me, is to limit the weight shift at the top part of the body and ensure it's happening from where we keep the bulk of our body weight, here in the pelvis and hip. Some of you may be wondering why I take such a large step, and that's just where my practice has brought me. If you cannot safely manage a large step, even the smaller step is more than enough for you to learn empty and full, that stability and movement awareness. So again, please don't force any movements to happen with your Tai Chi practice, and work with the comfort your body instructs you. The more comfortable it is, the easier it is to practice, and the safer you feel in your practice. And ultimately, that is the goal, a safe form of exercise you can do frequently. So we'll practice again, going through your most comfortable stance, using the most comfortable movements you have available. And then I believe, well, that's a little early. We might be able to do it again. So I'll go back on for this one, and one more time facing the camera. Inhaling on the lift, we'll begin. Everybody take your nice relaxing breath. We'll go one more time, as smooth as we can make it. Thank you, everybody. I hope you had a good time. Thank you for joining me and letting me spend part of Saturday morning with you.
I'm doing boxing in like 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
And those of you sticking around for boxing, we'll be beginning that workout in about 10 minutes. Thank you again. My name is Nate. I hope to see you around next time.
We'll do that.
All right.
How was it?
Good.
Okay.